Imagine waking up one morning to hear that a billionaire, known for his extravagant lifestyle and secretive nature, has completely vanished. Not just disappeared from the public eye, but gone without a trace after buying his own private island. People are talking, rumors are spreading, and the media is in a frenzy trying to piece together what could have possibly happened. How could someone so wealthy, so influential, just vanish into thin air? The story begins with a man who seemed to have it all: luxury cars, sprawling mansions, and a fortune most of us could only dream of. But for him, the allure wasn't just power or money. It was something more mysterious. His latest obsession was an isolated island he purchased in the middle of the ocean, a place he promised would be his sanctuary, away from prying eyes and endless paparazzi. But shortly after he set foot on the island, reports started to surface: strange sightings, unusual activity, and then, nothing. Friends and business partners say he was always a private person, but no one expected this level of secrecy. Was it a planned escape, a bold experiment, or something far more sinister? Authorities were baffled, and investigators pored over every detail, but every lead seemed to vanish as quickly as he did. Even those closest to him were left with more questions than answers, wondering if they ever really knew him at all. Tonight, we'll dive into the mystery of the billionaire who vanished after buying an island, exploring the clues, the rumors, and the shocking revelations that emerged in the aftermath. But one thing is certain: what happened on that island may never be fully explained. And as the sun set over his private paradise, the line between reality and mystery blurred, leaving the world questioning, where did he go? Before disappearing, the billionaire was no ordinary man. From a young age, he had an unusual mix of ambition and curiosity that set him apart. Growing up in a modest neighborhood, he had learned early that wealth was not just a goal but a tool, something that could shape his destiny. By his 30s, he had built a business empire that stretched across continents, earning him a reputation as both brilliant and unpredictable. But beneath the public image of luxury and success, there were whispers of obsession, of a man who chased not only fortune but something he could never quite define. His purchase of the island was the latest chapter in a life full of bold moves. He had been drawn to the idea of a place untouched by the world, a private paradise where he could reinvent himself and escape the pressures of fame. Locals and real estate insiders recall that he spent months negotiating, inspecting every inch of the property, insisting on privacy above all else. Even his closest advisors admitted they weren't allowed to know the full plan. It was as if he was preparing for something monumental, something that no one else could understand. After the sale, sightings near the island grew sparse and mysterious. Fishermen claimed they saw lights late at night where there shouldn't have been any. A helicopter pilot reported unusual activity along the shore, but when authorities investigated, they found nothing. Social media erupted with speculation: had he staged his disappearance, or had something gone horribly wrong? Friends, family, and even business partners were left in a state of disbelief. Each rumor only added to the puzzle, painting a picture of a man who might have been running from more than just the public eye. And so, the story of the billionaire who vanished after buying an island deepened. Secrets, rumors, and unanswered questions began to swirl around him like a storm, leaving everyone, investigators and spectators alike, wondering what really happened. The island held its silence, hiding clues that may never surface, and the world was left to imagine the truth lurking just beyond the horizon. As the days turned into weeks, the billionaire's disappearance became more than just a headline; it became a mystery that haunted everyone connected to him. Investigators faced dead ends at every turn. The island, supposedly isolated, seemed empty, yet strange footprints appeared along the shore, and security cameras had been mysteriously disabled. Authorities couldn't determine whether these were signs of someone living there or elaborate tricks designed to confuse anyone searching. Meanwhile, the billionaire's closest friends were divided. Some feared the worst, while others insisted he had orchestrated everything to vanish on his own terms. Behind the headlines, hidden tensions simmered. His business empire began to strain under uncertainty. Board members quarreled over decisions, partners questioned loyalties, and rival entrepreneurs saw an opportunity to exploit the chaos. Even within his inner circle, old rivalries resurfaced. Was someone trying to manipulate the situation to their advantage, or were these just the natural cracks that appear when a leader suddenly disappears? The uncertainty only added to the growing cloud of suspicion surrounding the billionaire's fate. Then there were the locals and occasional visitors to the island. Fishermen reported seeing strange signals at night, flickering lights and sudden fires that couldn't be explained. Some swore they heard voices carried over the wind, as if the island itself was alive with secrets. Conspiracy theories spread online, from whispers of hidden bunkers to rumors of shadowy visitors arriving under the cover of darkness. The mystery had taken on a life of its own, growing more elaborate with each retelling. Even family members struggled with conflicting emotions. Love, fear, and anger collided as they tried to piece together his motives. Had he truly sought solitude, or was something far darker at play? And as the world watched, the island remained silent, guarding its secrets fiercely. Each day without answers only deepened the suspense, leaving everyone on edge, waiting for the next clue, or the next shocking revelation that could change everything. The billionaire's vanishing was no longer just a story, it was a puzzle that seemed impossible to solve. Weeks turned into months, and the mystery of the billionaire's disappearance only deepened. The island, once just a remote piece of paradise, had become a focal point for speculation, fear, and obsession. Private investigators were hired, drone footage was scoured, and yet every lead seemed to vanish as quickly as it appeared. Rumors grew wilder, some claimed he had built secret tunnels beneath the island, others whispered about hidden rooms filled with treasures or documents that could shake the world. No one could say for sure. Meanwhile, the billionaire's absence began to have ripple effects far beyond the island. His businesses faltered without his guidance, triggering tense boardroom battles and secret power grabs. Rivals lurked in the shadows, waiting for any sign of weakness, while the media spun every rumor into a potential scandal. Friends who once admired him began questioning everything. Had they ever really known him? Every conversation, every memory suddenly felt layered with mystery, as if they had glimpsed only fragments of a life far more complex than anyone had imagined. Even those who were closest to him were haunted by unease. Family members felt a mix of grief and suspicion, unsure whether to hope for his return or brace for the worst. Their fears were mirrored in the reports coming from the island itself. Late at night, distant lights flickered in patterns that no one could explain. Strange sounds echoed across the water, and unidentifiable footprints were discovered along hidden paths. Local legends began intertwining with real events, creating a tension so thick that every new clue felt like a step closer to danger, or revelation. Then came the moments that made the tension almost unbearable. A mysterious message appeared on a secure server, hinting at knowledge only the billionaire could possess. A satellite image showed movement on the island, but it was impossible to tell if it was him, or someone, or something else. As the world watched, the stakes grew higher, and every new lead only deepened the questions. The billionaire's fate hung in the balance, and the island, silent and unyielding, seemed to guard the truth with a ferocity that promised the climax was near, but not yet revealed. Just when the world thought it had exhausted every possibility, a shocking new development sent shockwaves through the story. A cargo ship passing near the island reported seeing a small, makeshift dock appear overnight, something that hadn't existed before. The vessel's crew claimed they saw a lone figure moving along the shore, but by the time authorities arrived, the dock had vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared. Was the billionaire orchestrating secret arrivals and departures? Or was someone else using the island for unknown purposes? The questions only multiplied. Meanwhile, online investigators and conspiracy theorists began uncovering strange patterns in the billionaire's past communications. Old emails, private messages, and obscure social media posts hinted at a hidden agenda, a side of him no one had ever seen. Some messages seemed coded, almost like a trail leading to a discovery that could change everything. Friends and family were stunned. The man they thought they knew might have been playing a much deeper game, one that involved secrets so dangerous that anyone who got too close could be at risk. Tension escalated further when a local fisherman reported seeing unusual lights on the island at odd hours, unlike anything natural or man-made. Rumors of hidden laboratories, secret experiments, or private retreats began circulating, fueling speculation. Even law enforcement agencies started to consider unconventional possibilities. Could the billionaire have discovered something he wasn't supposed to, forcing him into hiding? Or had he staged the entire scenario to protect a fortune, a secret, or perhaps even himself? As the story spiraled, the island became a character of its own, silent, enigmatic, and unpredictable. Every new clue seemed to pull observers deeper into a web of intrigue, where nothing was as it seemed. The billionaire's disappearance had already baffled the world, but now it wasn't just a mystery, it was a puzzle layered with deception, danger, and secrets that refused to surface. The tension was at its peak, leaving everyone wondering what would happen next, and whether the truth would ever emerge from the shadows of that isolated island. The tension finally reached its breaking point when a private investigation team managed to secure permission to explore the island in person. As they arrived, the air was thick with anticipation, every rustle of leaves and distant bird calls seeming to echo with secrets. What they discovered sent shockwaves through everyone involved. Hidden beneath a dense canopy was a fully self-sustained compound, unlike anything the world had ever imagined. It had living quarters, advanced security systems, and even a small helipad, proof that someone had been living there, deliberately unseen. Inside the compound, investigators finally came face to face with the billionaire. He appeared calm, almost serene, as if months of disappearance had been a carefully orchestrated plan. He explained that he had chosen the island not to escape, but to investigate a series of threats against his life and empire. The isolation gave him time to uncover a conspiracy within his own business network, a group of partners plotting to take control while spreading false rumors of his disappearance. The billionaire had been one step ahead, gathering evidence while remaining invisible, letting the world and his enemies panic. Just as relief and astonishment began to settle, an unexpected twist emerged. Hidden within the compound, the team discovered a series of encrypted files, each hinting at another secret the billionaire had kept hidden, an offshore initiative connected to the island that could revolutionize global energy, but also place him in even greater danger if revealed. It became clear that the island was more than a refuge, it was a testing ground, a place where innovation and secrecy collided, and the stakes were far higher than anyone had imagined. The story ended on a chilling note. The billionaire had returned to the world, but his presence was no longer just a matter of wealth or fame. The island, the conspiracies, and the secrets it held promised more mysteries yet to unfold. The world had witnessed the vanishing, but the truth was only the beginning, and the real story, it seemed, was far from over. In the weeks following the billionaire's dramatic return, the world slowly began to understand the full scope of his disappearance. The island, once a symbol of mystery and fear, was revealed as a place of careful strategy and innovation. The hidden compound showed that his absence had not been random, it had been deliberate, a calculated move to uncover the truth behind the conspiracies threatening his empire. Those who had doubted him, friends and family alike, began to realize how much foresight and courage it had taken to vanish so completely and return on his own terms. The ripple effects of his isolation were felt across his business empire. Rivals who had tried to take advantage of his disappearance were exposed, and partnerships built on deceit were severed. Meanwhile, his closest allies, who had remained loyal despite the uncertainty, were rewarded not only with trust but with a deeper understanding of the man behind the headlines. They came to see that wealth alone had never defined him, it was his vision, ingenuity, and willingness to take risks that truly set him apart. As for the island, it remained under his control, now serving a dual purpose, a private retreat and a secure testing ground for his innovative projects, including the energy initiative hinted at during the climax. The world knew he had returned, but few understood the lessons he had learned in solitude, the power of patience, discretion, and resilience. In the end, the billionaire's story was no longer just about a vanishing act or a mysterious island. It was about strategy, courage, and the lengths one man would go to protect his legacy. Though the world had witnessed an extraordinary disappearance, the true takeaway was far more human. Sometimes, stepping away from everything allows you to see the truth more clearly, and the greatest victories are won not by what others see, but by the plans made in silence. The billionaire had vanished, but in returning, he had left the world with a story that would be remembered for generations.